Hello.
Hello.
Here's on my video. Looks way too wide. It's big head on the thing. You don't see it. Oh, it's got no options. Okay, well, is there anything that you particularly wanted to work on or just get started on sampling or what? Any ideas?
Sorry, say that again.
Is there anything you want to get started on? Do you want to just get started on the sampling stuff, or is there anything else you wanted to look at? Or I mean, if you've already gotten started on the classical sampling, we can go on to something else, like the other types of sampling.
I just kind of skimmed through them. My question was, do we just read the chapters and then based on that we do the work, or?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we're gonna start out with the statistics stuff, just because it's you can do it without the book, and just to kind of get it out of the way. It's kind of an important one.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go over the syllabus. So, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and go over the syllabus with you, just to be, because I'm recording this so that other people can see it too.
Okay.
Let me pull the syllabus here. One second. Okay, just to be clear on what oops. So this is a syllabus. And there's textbooks, problems, cases. In this class, we're mostly on cases out of the textbook.
Okay.
But submitting work, everything has to be submitted through Blackboard. And there'll be dates assigned to it. However, those dates are simply the date that I'll put them in on the grade to date. And what I mean by that is, so let's say that let's say there's a problem that's due on Friday and you don't get it in. You can still turn it in and get full credit. It's just that the grade to date will show that it'll look bad because it'll show that that is a 0. But that doesn't mean you can't turn it in. You can turn it in and the grade will jump up, because of it. So in all of the homework assignments, all the cases and stuff we do for the chapters and the handouts for the statistics stuff, those you can turn in as many times as you want, and I just take the highest grade. So if you turn something wrong, or if you turn something in, you don't get all the points you wanted, you thought, and you go back and you turn it back in, you can get all the points for it. And I always just take the last one, which is usually the highest one.
Okay.
And if you turn if you turn in 3 separate ones, I usually just go to the third one and see if that's the one that if that one's fine, then we don't worry about the other one. So anyway, yeah, so just because you miss a date does not mean you can't turn it in. You can still turn it in up through I think it's October 22nd.
Okay, because I did notice that on my grades it's like the assignments are uploaded and it says something about being due until October 22nd. So I was a little confused in regards to that.
Yeah, I'm going to change those to make them due sooner, but truthfully, and part of the reason why I put them in like that is that I want people to know that, look, you can turn them in the entire semester. So
okay.
Now there will be due dates, and that's just, and what those due dates really are is those are the dates that it's going to be included in your grade to date.
Okay.
So, but again, you turn it in, there's no problem with it, and there is no penalty for turning it in later.
Okay.
Also, along the same lines, is that you can turn them in any format that you want. So, you know, if you wanted to, you can turn in, a lot of times people just work right in the handouts themselves. You know, turning in the work. Completed handout file. You can print them out and scan or take pictures. You can also just work in notebook paper. The submitting is unlimited. So if there's a handout that has 10 pages, you can take 10 pictures and submit all 10 pictures.
Okay.
The only thing you can't submit so do not submit zip files. It's Windows stuff. Or page files. Oops. So those are no, and the reason you can't submit them nowadays is Blackboard doesn't know what to do with them.
Okay.
So they end up a lot of times just going into this limbo that looks like you're submitting them continuously for months.
Okay.
Yeah, so do not submit any zip files in Windows and or page files. Again, you can just submit, 10 pictures though. There's nothing wrong with doing it. And many people do it. So
Okay.
I'll take it. I'll take any form you do it. If you do it by hand and notebook paper, just take pictures of that, send it in. That's fine.
Okay. Sounds good.
And let's see here. And this is the syllabus that we're going to be using. And I said weeks 1 through 6 for the sampling. I was thinking about maybe kind of dispersing it in between, but I'm not sure if that's the best way to do this. I guess we'll go ahead and figure that out. There are handouts for all the rest of these though, so maybe next week we'll get started on those.
Okay.
And yeah. So now, is there? Did you want to start with the classical sampling, or do you want to start with something? Let me see some.
Yeah, definitely. That would really help out. How many students do you have in this class?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think actually I could find that in a second. I want to say like 8 or 9. Let me check.
Okay.
6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's good. So anyway, so yeah, okay, we'll just start then go ahead with the classical sampling.
Okay.
No, have you already worked on it or no?
No, I skimmed through it and then I started watching the videos. One of the videos, the very first one.
Okay.
But that was I haven't done any writing or anything.
Okay, well, we'll get started on that one then. Let's see here. Okay. Give me 1 second, then I'll pull it on my screen here. Okay. And so we'll get started. So you're going to turn in the entire handout. We'll do the first, maybe 2 or 3 together, and then you know, usually you can figure it out, but the, anyway, we're gonna go through a kind of, the first one's kind of a complete one. And then the rest of them are kind of shorter versions. These handouts, by the way, are very similar to what you see on the CPA exam. They, a lot of them came from the CPA exam. The CPA exam used to publish the questions, and
Okay,
this is sampling, and it's 100 years old. A lot of these are the same type of questions you see on the CPA. They might ask them for more specific things, you know, and not everything that we're doing here, but these are more along the lines of it. Okay. The first thing is we're going to use the first two columns. So this is what the client gave us. Here's a list of all their accounts receivable. And we want to know if there's any bad stuff in there. And the way we do that is by looking at, this is the audit side. If we were to audit every single one of them, you know, this is what we'd have. Now, we're not going to do this because in sampling, you can get fairly comfortable with numbers by taking a sample. And so it's a lot more efficient to take an example. And there are some things, so not only is it more efficient, you can get to say the 95 or 99% level by taking a much smaller sample. And if you're 99% sure, you know, that's pretty good. But there's also some things, especially in business, that you cannot, it'd be impossible to take a full sample. For instance, if you're going to audit Walmart and all Walmart's transactions, I'm sure they have billions of transactions. Right. It'd be impossible to do it. So you have to do sampling because it's simply impossible to, there's not enough people in the world to count all those transactions and stuff. So that's why we do sampling, is that it is, we can get very comfortable with the numbers for taking a much smaller sample. And also, so there's some things that are just impossible to do otherwise. Okay, we're going to take 5 items and we're going to use a random number table. So the first 2 columns random number table. So we're going to come down here and we're going to take the first 2 columns and we're going to use this to pick our sample. Now these are all numbered 1 through 30. So what we're going to do is try to find in this 2-digit number table which items we can pick from this this group they have. And we want it to be random because random are more, they're unbiased. It's a more accurate picture of what the true value is of it. So we want to be random. Okay. So we come down here to the random number table and we take the first 2 digits. So we have 1 through 30. Will there be an item number 3? Do we have a item number 3 that we can pick?
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll come up here and we'll pick this one. We'll make it green. So there is our first one, number 3.
Okay.
Is there a number 46?
No.
Nope. Number 51?
Nope.
Nope. 32?
Nope.
11?
Yes.
Yes. So that will be the next one we pick.
Okay.
And we'll pick a 14. Oops, there we go. There's an 18.
Okay.
We'll take that. We don't have a 91. We do have a 28.
Okay.
So we'll take that. Okay, so we picked a random sample of 5 items
Okay.
in a random number table. Now, here's one thing that is maybe not as obvious, though. One of the things that we do in auditing is that everything must be repeatable with the same result. And what you'll have is other people will look at your work. So if I'm a beginning auditor and they give me this and I pick the random sample to, someone else has to be able to come in and do the same thing. Well, that can be a problem with a random sample, because you say, okay, well, it's gonna be random. If we both use the first two columns, we're gonna pick the same items, we'll come up with the same results. So everything must be repeatable, and that's one of the reasons why we have this, why do we pick the random number, sample this way, is so that someone else can come in and see that they'll pick the same ones, they get the same results. Your work when you're doing an auditing for a CPA firm, it'll probably be looked at least 3 times and maybe 4 times or 5 times. So it has to be able to be repeatable, and that's what this is. We both came up with the same random number items for this.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start putting these in. So the first one we have is this one, number 3. Copy that down to here. Maybe I'll drop down one. Okay, so hold on a second. I've got too many. Okay, so this is the book amount, this is what the book says that they have. Now, when we go audit it, we come up with this amount, which looks like it's the same. So there's no problem with that one.
Okay.
And we'll just keep going down the list here. So here's number 11. Maybe I can copy them all at once. Just try doing that actually. And it looks like the same there.
Yep.
Yeah, it does work.
Mhm.
Now this one, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a problem here. These two are not the same. Those two are not the same. And 28. Those two are the same. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add these up and get an average for each one. I'll stop sharing for a second, see if we get slow. You don't need that tape on there. Different class. Okay. You can also just copy this into Excel too if you want to. Might be a
Okay.
better way of doing it. Oops. Mm. 33,795. I'll check that in a second, just to make sure. And over here we have. 32,395. Is that the same number you got? Let's see here. I'll put it in Excel just to check to be sure. Bang. That's weird. Huh. Oh, so I did something wrong here. I'm sorry. Hey. Okay, those are right. All right. So. Okay, so here's the totals, and we need to get the average for each of them. We're gonna divide by 5. Oops. Hey, that's my dog.
So on the first one, it's 6,759.
Okay. What kind of dog do you have?
He's a Pomeranian.
Oh, well, we have little dogs here too.
He's a barker though.
Yeah, the one that we have is she snarls and barks and goes berserk, and if something steps towards her, she runs away. It's so embarrassing. Okay, so this is so we got the average for each one. So here's the average for book. Okay, bring it down here. So we have our book average and our audit average. So now what we're going to do is project it over the entire population. So that's not me. On camera. So the idea of sampling is you take a few items and you project it over the entire population. And this is true for anything. So if you have a new medicine, you try it out on these people, you get a test group of people, say, okay, it works for 42% of them, then you project, okay, it should work for 42% of the entire population. So, you know, we can't take all the people in the world and test this medicine on, but you can test it on this and then project it over. And that's what we're going to do with our sampling too. We took these 5 items and we're going to project it over the entire population of 30 items. We're going to project what we came up with and say, okay, that's what, the entire population should be.
Okay,
Now, the first one we're going to use is the mean per unit. The mean is just the average. Now, which average do we have more confidence in? The one that the client gave us, these are the books that we're auditing, or the one that we came up with, the one that we actually went and investigated? Which one are we going to have more confidence in?
the audit, no?
Yeah, this one, we know this one, we went out and looked at it, and that's what they came up with. So we're gonna use the audit average, so that's what this is down here. Let me make this yellow saying this blue. Okay, so we're using the audit average, we're using the yellow. So this is 6. The entire population, that was 30
Yes,
here. So we're saying, look, we came up that our average was this, every one of these should be that amount, and this should be the projected value.
okay. $194,370.
Yep, I got you. Here, 184.37. Okay, now. Someone in here. So this is what the client gave us. So of these 30 accounts, these 30 accounts are all worth a total of 200,000.
Okay,
So they're saying that there's 200,000. That's the book value. The projected value is this. This is what we said. You know, if all the items that they should be the same as our, you know, the same value that we came up with, our average. Which comes up with, well, 194,000. So we're gonna look at the difference here.
5,630.
So this is gonna be our misstatement.
Okay,
So we're gonna say, okay, this is the misstatement. So I'm gonna copy this up here. And copy this here. All right, now, is this overstated or understated? We said they should have 194,000 on the books. They have 200,000 on the books,
so
so
they overstated.
they're overstated, yep. They have overstated their books by 5,000. Now, a question is, you know, is this material? And that's a judgment call. Oops, I need something wrong here. You know, is this enough to make a big deal out of? And that's gonna have to be a judgment. Oops. Got an extra E in my judgment. And the CPA exam generally does not ask you for a judgment on. You know, they'll make sure that you can come up with this number. You know, let's see, what's the projected misstatement, you know, overstatement or understatement, whatever. But they generally don't have you make the judgment call, and that just comes from time. You know, for doing audits, well, you'll develop that judgment. But
Okay.
when you first did, you know, so the CPA exam, they're not going to ask you, is this material? Because
Okay,
it is a judgment. Some people may look at 5,000 and say, yeah, that's material. Someone else, perfectly sane, would say, no, it's not that big a deal. So. But we should all get the same numbers for those. Okay. So this one is the mean per unit, that's just the average per unit. The second way we're gonna project it is by the ratio estimation, and the ratio estimation is, the ratio estimation says this, big things have big errors, small things have small errors, there's a ratio. You know, a $50 account is probably not gonna be off by $10,000. You know,
Okay.
a $300,000 account might be off by $10,000, but a $50 account probably not. So the idea is that, and I think this is accurate in most cases, is that there's a ratio of what they're off. Small things are off by small amounts, big things are off by big amounts.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna take our audit average divided by our book average. And if you ever forget which one goes on top, it's always alphabetical.
Hmm.
A over B. One of the weird things about accounting is most things are like that. You know, it's so strange. Dozens of things, you know, working out how much revenue is earned and all that kind of stuff, and they almost all come out to you for some reason. Alphabetical. Okay, we're gonna multiply by the entire book value. So notice that, so this is the audit amount on top. And this is the book amount down here. And so we're gonna divide those and then multiply it by, and notice that this is the book amount, so, you know, this kind of fall out, if you think about this being the book and that being the book. And this will give us what the projected value would be if they're all off by the same ratio.
Okay. So that's 191,714 with 75 cents.
Okay, I would probably just round off the nearest dollar.
Okay.
You're faster than I am, so I'm gonna. So you said 191, 715?
715, yeah.
And again, so this is gonna be the projected value. So we're saying that it's worth that. The company is saying it's worth that. So the misstatement will be difference there. Eight thousand.
8,285. If we round it off.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the misstatement. Expected value. And overstatement or understatement?
Overstated, no?
Yep. Yep, it's overstated by 8,000. And again, you know, this is a judgment call. Is that material or not? You know, it's certainly closer than this one. But you know, again, they don't usually ask you they won't ask you to whether it's material or not. And sometimes, you know, in auditing, you do get in kind of arguments within the audit team. Someone thinks something's material when someone doesn't, but again, that's a judgment call.
Okay.
Okay, difference estimation. That didn't work very well. Let's try that again. Yeah, works a little better. Okay, difference estimation is sort of like the opposite of the ratio estimation. It says that everything is going to be off by the same amount.
Okay,
So, you know, if it's a $50 item, it'll be off by the same amount as a $50,000 item.
okay.
So that's what this one is all about here. Let's see. Something weird on this one. It's one or two. I don't know. Okay, so take the audit first usually, and this will tell you how much needs to come off each one. This one's a little different too for another reason. That is that we're gonna find the error first. $280.
I'm sorry?
Did you come up with 280?
Yes,
Okay.
280.
Okay, now what we're saying here is this, that everything they have on the books is 280 too high. You have to subtract 280 from everything they have on the books.
Ah, okay.
And they have 30 things, 30 different items, so that's gonna be the projected misstatement. Now, the negative here is really just meaning that it is overstated
Okay,
by 270. This is what you have to subtract from each one, so this would be 280 times whatever that is.
so it's 8,400.
8,400, okay. So this will be the rejected misstatement. So this is gonna be a little bit strange in that if we come down here, we have to kind of back into the projected. Oh, excuse me. You know, so the question is, how much is the projected value? Well, the difference between those two, whatever that is. 600. So we're saying that there's 8,400 of this is too high. So we take 8,400 off of theirs, so this would be. You know, if we took 280 off each item, be a total of 8,400 we take off, so this would be the projected value.
Okay,
And again, these are overstated. By $280 per item. So this one will say that everything is up by the same amount, the 280.
okay.
And again, is this material? Well, it depends. You know, that's a judgment call. But so what we've done is we have three different methods of kind of, you know, the average book and the average audit are exactly the same. But the way that we project it over the entire population can be a little bit different. So we have the you know, the difference between those two.
Okay,
What is this? All three sampling methods will have the same estimate for the projected value. False. Right. The projected value is 191, 600, 191, 715. That's pretty close, but this one's. So the three different methods, you know, they usually give you different amounts.
Okay,
And we'll figure out later when it's appropriate to use which one. I can
okay,
tell you right away that the second one here, the ratio one, is probably theoretically the most accurate one, and the one that makes most sense. Um, it makes sense that small items would have small errors and big items would have big errors, usually.
okay,
Okay. Now, this is the way you're more likely to see it on the CPA exam. They usually don't have you pick a sample. They usually
Okay.
give it to you and they'll say, or they may just give you the average numbers. But if they do have you do, work, you get the average numbers and they'll say, okay, by the average and then, work out, what are the numbers for the rest of them?
okay.
So, let
So
you,
this is what we work on, what, right?
yeah,
This is what we submit?
yeah. And
Okay.
if you want, you can go through it, yeah, and I think there's four more of these.
Yeah,
Yep, and then down here, you'll see if you wanna look at the video. I'll go ahead and tell you these down here. So I think you do the other ones. Mean per unit one, so this is number 6.
okay,
So mean per unit. This one could be used when, the items in sample have similar dollar amounts. So if they have similar dollar amounts, mean per unit is a good one. Another way to say that in kind of the statistical jargon is that they have a lower standard deviation or variance. In other words, there are a lot if they're near the same amounts. So if these are tons of sand, the sand will have similar amounts per ton. Then you can use the mean per unit one.
okay,
Ratio estimation, we kind of talked about. Sample varies. The sample amounts varies. So used when the sample amounts vary. So in other words, they aren't similar. We have $50 accounts and $50,000 accounts. And the idea is that larger items will have larger errors, and that's probably the case most of the time. I think that this ratio estimation one probably fits most circumstances.
okay,
Difference estimation is when the items are likely to be off by the same amount. And let me give you an example for this one. So if you have sales orders that did not include a $10 handling charge, so no matter what size the order is, if there's a $10 handling charge and it's, you know, if it's likely, you know, that if anything is missed, it's gonna be that $10 handling charge. Then the difference estimation one is a good one to use.
Okay,
But it's usually, you know, they're kind of rare circumstances.
okay,
Yeah, so that's difference estimation, I mean, per unit, and so right, yeah, and again, this one, if you're in doubt, I would say use this one. Because this is probably the most accurate as far as what you're gonna find. It's rare to find things that are all the same price. And it's also rare to find things that are off by the same amount. Not that it never happens, but it's, I think, much more unlikely than, you know, you'll have a variety of dollar amounts in there.
okay.
Right, well, John, then, I guess I think, why don't we just have you wanna just work on that then, fill in the rest of those?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And you know, again, and this will be taped, this is being videoed, I guess taped is like use this tape anymore. But yeah, this is being video, so this will be posted in Blackboard. And again, these are completely optional to watch. But I think on Monday then maybe we'll do the monetary unit sample.
Okay,
That
sounds
was a little bit wackier. So okay.
okay, thank you.
And Sherry, do you have any question? I got your email.
Hey, yeah, I had sent the email out, and then when I just checked after working on my I said, "Oh Lord, I had a class. I didn't miss the class." And so they made me nervous, but pretty much you just went over what we did in that video that I watched, correctly?
Yeah, and then you just complete the handout and turn it in, and that's it.
I was asking, do we need to turn in all the handouts, all nine of the pages, or just the ones that we needed to do alone?
Also, I think there's 5 of them total. Right?
Where's 9 pages? I don't know.
Well, turn them all in.
Turn them all in. Okay. And the question that I was asking was, I normally do a lot of my work right here on the sheet and not in the Word document. Can I screenshot these pages and upload them like a picture?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit earlier about that. Yeah, any way you want to submit them is fine with me. The only thing that you well, here I can pull it up. Actually, I can still have it.
Okay.
Let me see. Give me 1 second. Yeah, turning in the work. Here we go. So
Okay.
any way you turn it in is fine with me. The only thing that we can't, the only thing I would discourage you from doing is putting it in zip files, that's in Windows, or page files, which are in Apple.
Okay, I see. No.
Blackboard has a problem with those. It just, a lot of times they just go into a loop.
Okay, but I normally would like take the pictures and then put it in my pictures under my picture files, and then I save them or send them that way. That's fine.
And there's unlimited submittals, so you can submit 10 pictures. It's fine.
Okay, cool things. That's what I got. Only thing just now I got a little bit stuck on, but I think I understand it now. The difference with the difference estimations. When the book value is less than it's understated, and when we get the projected misstatement first, we pretty much need to add that missing amount of money to make that projected value more than what the book value states, correct?
If the thought amount is bigger, it gets added, it's an understatement. If it's,
Right.
yeah, if it's smaller, It's an overstatement,
But
yeah.
if the book value is understated, it's still understated, but it don't get added to, it gets subtracted from the book value to come up with the projected value,
Yeah,
right?
so here, in this case, our audit amount,
It's so, that's the only thing, but I looked at them over and over. Okay, let me see.
so the audit amount here is less than the book. So what we're saying is, look, book, you have to take $280 out of each one of these. So,
Go to which one is this? I think this is number, this is 3. Page 5, I guess. That estimation was confusing to me a little bit.
so this is, the problem number 2 then?
I guess it's problem 2, yeah.
Okay. All right, let me just throw these in here. So your averages would be, what's it? The audit one is 5,314.
Okay, hold on, let me make sure I got the right pages on it. So this should be page 4, I should be looking for right now.
And this one is,
Okay, yeah, okay. So that one is 5314, and then the other one's 5140. Okay.
oh yeah, this is going to be an understatement.
So it's the difference estimation one that's
Okay, so.
throwing me for a loop, when I supposed to take that projected one and add it to the book value, or whether it should be like a subtracted or something from that. I don't know. I'm confused a little bit. That.
All right, yeah, so on this one, the audit amount is larger, so we're gonna say they have to add stuff to it, so this is when it's understated, so this will look like this.
This is when it's understated.
Oops. So the audit average is 52.
So it can be understated, but still be higher. The projected value can still be higher than the book value, even if it's understated. Is that possible? Because on another one, it's understated.
No, it is, and it can definitely, that is when it is.
Okay, so I was thinking one versus the other, and that if the book value was less than, it would be understated, but I thought you would add that amount that was understated to the projected value, which would give it the higher number. But in this case, we didn't add it.
So this would look like, what was the difference?
It was lower.
174?
Yeah, 174.
174.
Okay, so we're gonna take that, we're gonna multiply it by the items. 1,000.
Okay.
I'm gonna copy all this down, so I can, this way I don't have to keep back and forth.
And they go for understated. Okay, now we're in the overstated.
So what we're saying here is that, look,
Okay,
that each one of these should have 174 added to it.
right.
There's 1,000 of them.
And so that means that the books is low by that amount, 174,000.
Yep.
So that means the books is understated. So that's, and their books is 500,000. So the projected value should be 5,174. I mean,
That's exactly right.
yeah. Well, 5,174,000. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so this,
Okay. I think I get it.
well, and that one, this one is a weird one because they give you the misstatement as first.
Right. But I noticed that it makes a difference over in the subtraction, whether
Yep.
which which one is higher, the average, the audit average or the book average, which makes a difference in how you calculate it over on the, because on, which one was this? Page 3,
Just, yeah, see the opposite. Yep.
it was the opposite, but it was overstated.
And here's the thing to think about when you're, looking through these.
Okay.
The audit amount is, this is the most persuasive one. This is the one that you're gonna deem as being correct.
Correct. Okay.
So if you think about it, so this is correct, this is not correct.
Okay.
So we say, okay, each one of these has got to change by, that.
That amount. Uh-huh.
And there's 1,000 of them, then you take 1,000 of them times that, and this will be, the amount. So the audit amount is the correct amount. The book amount is not correct, unless it's the same as the audit amount. It's possible they don't have anything wrong, but the audit amount is always the correct one, or the way that they usually describe it is the most persuasive.
Okay. Okay. I think I got it right.
Yeah. I think, is that one in that, I think that one might be in the video. I can't remember, to be honest with you.
So the book that we purchased, the fraud examiner, are we gonna use that book often, or are we gonna do a lot of just printouts?
No, we're actually gonna do that book, the cases, and actually, if you look in,
Oh, the cases are in that book. Okay, I ordered it yesterday, so I was just
yeah,
wondering.
this is what I want. Yeah, so the assignments, I actually posted the assignments for chapters 1, 2, and 3. So these are the cases from the book. The book is actually pretty good. It has some good cases. Some of the problems are a little bit quirky, but the cases are pretty good, I think.
Okay.
So these are the cases for each chapter, and I'm also gonna have a handout. These handouts are gonna be short. I'll show you what they look like. For each of those, and I'll probably put videos with those also, and I'll probably put extra credit for just turning them in. There's not much to turn in on them, but.
Okay.
So for instance, here's this is what chapter 1 is gonna look like.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of definition of fraud. And that's what these, the first 3 chapters are kind of definition-y. You're not gonna get too much. I mean, you may get a little bit of calculations in them, but there's a little bit of calculation here on this one.
Okay.
But yeah, so these will be, and these go along with the handouts, or these are the handouts. These will go along with the prominent books. And what I usually do is have these will be extra credit.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't have to fill them out, but if you do, I'll throw some extra credit points, like 10 extra credit points on.
Okay. You know, I like extra credit, Mr. Taylor. So far for what we had to turn in for this week, because I know this is like strictly like an online class, not necessarily a Zoom. I just want to make sure I'm up to par. So all we had to do was the classical sampling stuff this week.
Yeah, we're hopefully gonna try to get the sampling completely done by next week. So I think today we'll do the, if you just get the classical sampling, that'd be great. Monday, we'll go over the monetary unit sampling, which is kind of a wacky way, but it's really useful in some circumstances, which we'll find out.
Okay.
And then the last one is probably the easiest one, is kind of a sampling overview. So those 3 will get done. And then I will send out the exams.
Okay. So we don't have no exam this week.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the exam won't be due till the end of week 3.
Oh,
They
okay.
have another week to do it, so
And when will we start these case studies? Next week or
probably week 3.
week 3? Okay, okay. I'm on top of things then. All righty.
Don't panic yet. This is the first week.
Mrs. Taylor, you already know me. If I got an issue, I'm on the Zoom with you. I think I've had you twice already. So.
Yep.
Okay, I got it. I think I got it.
Okay.
And I'll post everything. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. See you guys.
Bye-bye.